Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our live stream. We're going to wait just a couple of minutes before we begin to give time for folks to join. While you're waiting, you can go to our website. It's autisticpgh.org. That is autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. autisticpgh.org/DDOM 2024. To see our speakers, you can see their bios and you can learn about the event. You can access resources if you might need them while we're waiting just a couple of minutes and giving a little bit of time for folks to join. Hi, folks. If you're just joining us, welcome to our live stream. We're going to give people just a couple more minutes to join us before we get started. While you're waiting, you can go to our website to see our speakers and read their bios, learn a little bit more about the event if you'd like, and you can access resources if you're interested in that. Our website is autistic.org/DDOM 2024. Hi, folks. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining our live stream. We're going to wait just a couple of minutes, just another minute or two before we get started to give folks a little bit more time to join us. While you're waiting, you could go to our website to see a list of our speakers, read their bios, learn a little bit more about the event, and we've listed some resources if you might need those this evening. Our website is autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. That's autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our live stream. If you're just now joining us, we're going to wait just another minute or two to give folks just a little more time to join us before we begin. While you're waiting, you could go to our website if you'd like. You could see a list of our speakers, read their bios, learn a little more about the event, and access resources if you're interested in that. Our website is autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Welcome to our live stream. If you're just now joining us, we're going to go ahead and get started. But you can learn more about our event and our speakers by going to our website. Our website is autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. Thank you so much for your patience. So our stream tonight includes ASL interpretation and open captions. If you're seeing captions twice, you may need to turn off your local closed captions on YouTube and Facebook individually for you. So we're going to go ahead and begin the 2024 Disability Day of Mourning Pittsburgh Vigil. Thank you for being here with us. My name is Opal. I am a white, trans-masculine, non-binary person. I have very short brown hair. I'm wearing over-the-ear headphones, a bright blue shirt, and a tan blazer. I'm using a graphic for a background. That background consists of several illustrated candles. All of our speakers tonight will have the same background. With me tonight is an ASL interpreter, and he is wearing a black shirt, and he is black, and he has glasses, and he is in front of a blue background. This space is created by members of the Pittsburgh disability community. In order to provide access for the most people possible, you may notice a few things about our event tonight. I just offered a visual description of myself so that people who are blind or visually impaired can know what I look like. You can see that we have ASL interpretation. We also have captions. A team member is typing in real time. These things allow our deaf and hard of hearing community to participate. These features are how our disabled community is shown that they belong here, and so we prioritize them. If you're curious about participating in the vigil directly yourselves tonight in real time, commenting is not available on YouTube. But you can comment on our Facebook live stream, where we do have a moderator. The event is also being streamed to GenderMeowster's Twitch channel, where comments are being moderated by their team. And thank you so much for that. So we're here tonight to hold vigil, to mourn. Every year, many times all over the world, parents and caregivers murder their disabled children and the disabled adults in their care. The people who these disabled people should be able to trust the very most take their lives, murder them because of their disabilities. Because those caregivers believe that our lives belong to them, that our lives are theirs to take, because they believe that our lives are worthless, because they believe that we are better off dead. These disabled people who are now gone, they are our people, our community. We speak, we hold this space, we grieve deeply and in the marrow of our bones. We mourn tenderly and with our hearts filled with fire for them. And we tell the world that our lives are our own. They belong to us. We tell the world that it is disgusting, that it is reprehensible to empathize with our murderers. We tell the world that we will not allow the narrative of the poor, overburdened, heroic caregiver deserving of sympathy to continue to perpetuate its deceitful, lying message. Killing us is not a mercy. Killing us is murder. Tonight is a vigil. It is not a lecture or a rally or a fundraiser. Tonight we hold space for our sorrow, for our deep rage, for our impossibly profound grief. Tonight we'll hear from a few speakers. They will share their perspectives and words as disabled people themselves. As disabled people, we're all deeply affected each and every time we learn of another loss, another death, another child who will never again watch bubbles dancing through the air, another elder who will never again smile softly when they hear the music that moved them in their youth, another person who will never again feel joy so great that they wriggle and they flap their hands with glee. We hear of these tragedies and we cry, we mourn, we grieve. Because these lost lives, these lives that were taken from us, they were ours. They were our people. Our speakers tonight will share of themselves from that vulnerable place, from that place of such pain and anger and sadness. We're honored to be able to create a container to hold their vulnerability. After our speakers have shared the raw, difficult, painful thoughts with you, then we will transition into reading the names of disabled people who were murdered by their parents or caregivers that were identified in this past year. This list is long. This list is crushingly long. This list is so painful. But we have this honor and this responsibility, and we have this duty to come together and to say the people that we mourn tonight were the victims, not their caregivers. We must come together and hold this space and grieve the loss of them as people, as real human people. We must counter the narrative that the horror of what was done to them was all they were. It was not. They were people. They had dreams and wishes and hopes and favorite colors. They had histories and thoughts and feelings. And they deserved to make choices in their lives. They deserved to live. They were ours, and they are gone. And so we mourn now together. Tonight is a challenging night for all of us. Discussion of filicide, of violence, of suicide will come up at points during the event tonight. I want to invite all of you watching to prioritize your well-being and pause or mute or step away as you need to. We have resources to help you cope or to seek support at our website. Our website is autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. Before I introduce our first speaker, I want to share a little bit about what filicide is and why this vigil is focused on disabled lives. Filicide is the legal term for a parent murdering their child. In the disability community, filicide is also used when talking about a parent or other caregiver murdering a disabled child or a disabled adult in their care. When we say filicide, we are really talking about a pattern of violence. This violence starts with ingrained systemic marginalization that removes us from public life. It starts with the one step that keeps us from accessing buildings, with our inability to find and afford adequate and appropriate medical care, with the well-meaning woman in line behind us who calls us an angel or a hero for parenting our own child, with the dear friend who tells us they could never live with something that is, for us, just a part of our everyday lives. The violence starts with the people who don't even consider wearing a mask in public any longer so that we can shop for groceries without risking our lives. It starts with the doctors who tell our parents that the burden of our care will cause their divorce. It starts with the teachers who roll their eyes when they learn that they have a student with an IEP in their mainstream classroom. The violence is perpetuated in our lives all the time. Like when a licensed psychologist that I myself was seeing for treatment told me that for no other reason than the reality of living with my immunodeficiencies means that their activities will be limited in the world, that my own children would be better off without me. Or when a disabled community member turned to me for my support in my professional capacity as a social worker because her spouse had had a stroke and was newly blind, and the hospital discharged him without any plan or any support. And then I was unable to find their family any supports or services for 6 entire weeks. For 6 entire weeks, their family was without any professional support of any kind for a newly blind adult. A father and a husband was stripped of his dignity and his autonomy and his basic needs because of the violence inherent in these systems. And that violence is inherent when that professional work reminded me of how I am losing my own hearing and my own visual field. And my own medical team believes that I will be deafblind within the next half decade. But even as a social worker in the field myself, I am unable to find any resources for my own family or for myself individually to learn to live as a deafblind adult until I have lost so much hearing and so much visual field that I fear I will no longer be able to access the limited resources that do exist at all. And that violence is reinforced when a well-meaning friend says to us that they could not live with something we live with every day. Just this offhanded throwaway comment for them, right? But for us, that message is crystal clear. What that well-meaning friend is really saying is, I would rather be dead than to live your life. Our closest people would rather be dead than to live our lives. Can you imagine how dehumanizing that is? And also when those same well-meaning people see us caring for our disabled children and they shake their heads solemnly and they muse, "What will your child do when you're gone?" As if the implication of this question, that is not really a question at all, but is instead a tool that allows the well-meaning person to cope with what they believe is the tragedy of our child's life, as if that implication is not actually, what kind of life could that child ever possibly live? As if that well-meaning person does not somewhere in their hearts believe that our children would be better off dead than living without us, their heroic, angelic parents. Our children hear these comments, as children, we heard these comments. Can you imagine being a child and internalizing the message that your life is worthless? That you have no value outside of the way that others see you as an extension of your caregiver's compassion? The violence in this system robs us of our future, of our autonomy, of our agency, of our lives. The violence is a structure that builds the scaffolding that upholds modern eugenics practices. These practices, eugenics, that's what we're actually talking about here, eugenics, are what directly cause our deaths. Eugenics is what allows our murderers to dehumanize us enough so that killing us seems like a reasonable, rational choice to them. The act of removing us from public life by the casual disregard of our needs, our autonomy, our agency, our access, that is what leads to the convenient reality that if you don't see us, then you don't have to think about us. And if you don't have to think about us, then we're not real. Not really. Not in the way that the people that you pass by on the street every day are real. Not in the way that your children's classmates are real. Not in the way that the members of your congregation or your office mates or the people at the table next to you at the restaurant are real. No, instead, we are a thought experiment, intangible, insubstantial, a theory, hypothetical. And if we are not real, then we don't matter. If we are hypothetical, then you are free to hand wave our needs, hand wave the realities of our life, hand wave our very existence. If we are a thought experiment, then you are free to dismiss the suggestion that perhaps you should require masking for this space so that our immunocompromised community may be able to participate too. Or that maybe you could look into getting a ramp for that one step into your otherwise accessible building so that the community members who use wheelchairs can access that space. Or that even if no one asks directly that you should have ASL interpretation at that lecture, because if you do not, the message implicit is that we are at best an afterthought. That lecture is not actually for us, but maybe if we make enough trouble, maybe if we're loud enough, you'll complain that ASL interpretation is expensive, but okay, fine, you'll do it, even though it means that you can't do these other things because of your limited budget. But okay, fine, you'll do it. If we are a theory, then we cannot belong anywhere. This violence, modern eugenics practices, is why when a caregiver kills a disabled child or adult who trusted them with their lives, the media reporting casts the offender as an angel of mercy or a poor put upon martyr instead of the murderer who ended a human life. It is because we are not a human life in that narrative. That narrative must change. We must change it. We will not allow our murderers to continue to be cast as merciful acts. And so here we are, together, audacious and bold, unrelenting in our love and our grief and our heartache, and also unrelenting in our rage, together, saying that we will remember and we will not allow our deaths to continue unchallenged. So let me introduce you to some of the people who will challenge them tonight. Tonight, we're going to hear from 5 people who mourn for the dead with us and who fight like hell every day for the living. They are all themselves disabled. One is a medical doctor who cares for over 700 disabled children in southwestern Pennsylvania. One is an activist who has used her disabled body as a weapon of change. One is a community member who has by necessity learned to create the things that we need in our lives and who gives it to us to the best of her ability. One is a deaf, autistic, elected official and occupational therapist, minor public figure and mentor, activist and leader. One is a community member who keenly feels the loss of one of our own. Each one of these folks brings their own perspectives. I admire them all, and I am so grateful that they'll be sharing of themselves with us tonight. So our first speaker is Elaine. Elaine Houston is a multiply disabled Pittsburgh transplant, volunteer patient advocate, and disability rights advocate. She loves to help her community using her technical skills and education to create custom assistive technology solutions for those who need them and help others navigate the maze of public benefits and support services. She can frequently be spotted in the community with her service dog, Oak III, from Canine Companions. Elaine will be reading Killing Words by Zoe Gross tonight. This piece was written at the very beginning of Disability Day of Mourning. Though it is 12 years old at this point, and many of the people spoken about are no longer at the forefront of our minds, it holds its relevancy. This piece helped spark Elaine's journey in advocacy. Elaine, would you mind beginning with a visual description of yourself?
Yes. I am Elaine. I'm a very fair-skinned white female with auburn hair and a very short pixie cut hairstyle. And I'm wearing very thin-rimmed rectangular glasses and a light blue t-shirt and a Celtic cross necklace. Let me present to you a sequence of events. On March 6th, a 22-year-old autistic man named George Hodgins was murdered in Sunnyvale, California. His mother, Elizabeth, pulled out a gun, shot him point blank, and then killed herself. In the following days and weeks, journalists wrote about George Hodgins' murder. In the articles, they called him low functioning and high maintenance, and called Elizabeth Hodgins a devoted and loving mother. They sought out quotes from other parents of autistic children who normalized the crime by saying things like, "Every mother I know who has a child with special needs has a moment just like that." People came to comment on those articles. They said that they felt sympathy for the mother. They called her George's guardian angel. They said no one should judge her unless they had walked in her shoes. They said that it wasn't wrong because he was autistic. And autistic children are hell to raise. They said it wasn't wrong because she was obviously responding to a lack of services. In fact, she had refused services. They said that it was wrong because he was disabled. So, and his life couldn't have been very good anyway. On March 8th, Robert Latmore went on television to talk about how loving and compassionate it was when he gassed his disabled daughter, Tracy. He called for euthanasia. the murder of disabled children by their parents to be legalized in Canada. A woman who appeared with him agreed. She had 2 disabled children who she would like to kill, but she can't because it's against the law. No opposing viewpoints were presented. On March 17th, the Autism Society released a statement about the tragic story of Elizabeth Hodgins, which shows that high stress on parents is very common in the autism community. The statement, signed by both Autism Society presidents, blamed her action on lack of services. They also noted the divorce rate among parents with a child with autism is as high as 70% due to that pressure. This is actually a myth that was debunked in 2010. They never even mentioned George's name. On March 31st, Patricia Corby drowned her 4-year-old autistic son, Daniel, in the bathtub in San Diego, California. We need to start looking at these murders as copycat crimes, which are encouraged when murders of disabled people receive positive press coverage. Just as Katie McCarran's murder followed autism every day, Daniel Corby's murder followed George Hodgins' murder and subsequent media coverage, which excused, explained away, or even prompted the murder of disabled people by our parents. When journalists call murderers loving and devoted parents, when television shows give Robert Latmere airtime, when parents normalize murder by saying that all special needs parents have murderous thoughts, the result is an environment in which these murders are seen as acceptable. Media coverage like this sends a message that homicide is normal, understandable response to any discomfort one might experience while parenting a disabled child. And we cannot pretend that other parents of disabled kids aren't hearing that message. Let me present to you a sequence of events. If you wrote an article about George Hodgins' murder, or if you gave a quote for one, or if you covered it on television, or if you blogged about it, or if you commented on it, and if you say that no one should judge the murderer as wrong, if you said that Elizabeth Hodgins was driven to murder by George's autism or by lack of services, if you called the murder understandable, if you said it wasn't murder, it was a mercy killing, if you said all parents of special needs children have felt this way, please take a moment to wonder if Patricia Corby heard you.
Thank you, Elaine. I'd like to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Bethany Ziss. Dr. Bethany Ziss is a disabled person and a doctor who believes the two are not mutually exclusive. Tonight, Dr. Ziss will speak about how mindset, not services, influences the life of developmentally disabled children and their families, and the false idea that disabled children are less than, and her own perspective as a disabled doctor who cares for disabled children. She will read a poem she wrote while in medical school about how struck she was with our systemic dehumanization, even as literal infants. Bethany, would you mind beginning with a visual description of yourself?
Hi, I'm Bethany Ziss. I am a small, pale white woman. I am wearing my dark hair pinned up and glasses and a burgundy suit. In February 2003, Harriet McBride Johnson wrote, "He insists he doesn't want to kill me. He simply thinks it would have been better, all things considered, to have given my parents the option of killing the baby I once was, and to let other parents kill similar babies as they come along, and thereby avoid the suffering that comes with lives like mine, and satisfy the reasonable preferences of parents for a different kind of child. It has nothing to do with me. I should not feel threatened." She was writing about meeting with an ethicist who argued that parents should be allowed to kill newborns with neuromuscular disabilities. The piece was published in the New York Times Magazine with the title "Unspeakable Conversations," with a cover picture of McBride Johnson in her power wheelchair. It was 2003, and the internet was new and all. The disability community was finding each other online. That February, Unspeakable Conversations was everywhere. It was posted to message boards. I probably had half a dozen links emailed to me and sent out as many myself. A disabled person speaking out about eugenics and euthanasia was on the cover of the New York Times. Everybody was talking about it. A few months later, I entered medical school. I went to ethics classes. I learned about quality of life. It was a different world. No one was talking about it. In 2011, I was in a program for students learning to become professionals in fields of developmental disability. The program requires that one of the faculty be a family member of a person with a developmental disability. There is no requirement to have a disabled person in a faculty or advisory role. Some activists have tried but failed to get this passed through Congress. We were asked to respond to the essay, "Welcome to Holland." Maybe you know it. It was written by the mother of a child with Down syndrome to describe what it's like to parent a child with Down syndrome. She wrote it was like planning a trip to Italy, but realizing you've landed in Holland. Over time, parents learn of the beauty in Holland, but never quite give up feeling they were supposed to go to Italy. The essay has been published in Ann Landers and handed out by social workers and NICUs and sent around from parent to parent. I responded this essay probably reflects the parent perspective, but does not really represent what people with disabilities share with each other about our experiences. I shared several articles that were posted in the disability community, including Unspeakable Conversations. This got me to a small group of professionals working to change how we're taught about disability in medical training. Some people collect stamps. I collect quality of life studies. Over and over, disabled people rate our own quality of life higher than others would rate it on our behalf. Higher than our doctors, higher than our parents. Doctors mostly haven't read those studies. Ethics committees who make determinations about our lives mostly haven't read those studies. In 2024, the DEI group of my professional society started reading Disability Visibility, edited by Alice Wong, to start to recognize intersectional ableism as it impacts our patients. The first essay is Unspeakable Conversations. People are appropriately disturbed. They want this shared with trainees. They wish they had read something like this in their training. It's been 20 years. We've been here all this time. I wrote this poem in 2016 about my medical training, and I'm sharing it tonight with hope that people in power are starting to notice and listen and change. Our disabled lives are what we say they are and deserve to be valued. They didn't teach us it was okay to kill people with disabilities in medical school. They just lectured us about how people with disabilities can't function. And that condition was absolutely devastating. A condition I have, by the way. And that after people develop disabilities, life's not worth living anymore. In medical school, they didn't teach us it was okay to kill people with disabilities. They just rounded on the hospital floors and shook their heads and clicked their tongues and said, he has no quality of life and she should be DNR and his poor mother. And we should find the circuit breaker for this room of babies who breathe with ventilators. And the best thing for him would be to earn his angel wings. In medical school, they didn't teach us it was okay to kill people with disabilities. They just told the pregnant person to get the blood test so that if the baby has Down syndrome, you can terminate the pregnancy. Where's the choice in that? In medical school, they didn't teach us it was okay to kill people with disabilities. They just presented journal articles in grand rounds that combined severe disability and death under the category of poor outcome. Peer-reviewed, published journal articles, which define severe disability as an IQ below 70, or blindness, or hearing impairment, or seizures, or cerebral palsy. There's a lot of living people in those categories combined with the dead ones. And no one in medical school seemed to notice. In medical school, they didn't teach us it was okay to kill people with disabilities. And they would be shocked if someone said they had. They just implied in 100 little ways that we might be better off dead and that others might be better off if we were dead. In medical school, they didn't teach us it was okay to kill people with disabilities. They just emphasized the difference between us and them. That is us and we, I mean, us and me. In medical school, they didn't teach us it was okay to kill people with disabilities out loud. They didn't have to.
Thank you so much, Bethany. I'd like to introduce you to our next speaker, Elisa. Elisa Grishman is a disability activist and founder of Access Mob Pittsburgh, an advocacy group that utilizes positive approaches to making change, such as education and economic incentives. She is a self-described shameless agitator. She's also been arrested multiple times for fighting for disability rights with ADAPT, a national advocacy group. Her work has been recognized locally and nationally in such outlets as The Rachel Maddow Show, NPR, Huffington Post, Esquire Magazine, KDKA News, and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Along with her direct advocacy work, Grishman co-runs Ballots for Patients and Care to Vote, sister efforts that respectively collect emergency absentee ballots from hospitalized peoples on Election Day, and work with nursing and personal care homes to help residents register to vote and fill out ballots. In her free time, Grishman enjoys knitting and collecting antique books. She lives in the uptown neighborhood of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Elisa will be talking to us tonight about one arm of modern eugenics practices: lack of access to voting. She will talk to us about how this civil right is removed from us through lack of access to polling places, by lack of access to ballots, by removing us from public life and pushing us into congregate facilities, and how this act leads directly to our deaths. Elisa, would you mind beginning with a visual description?
Hello, everyone. My name is Elisa Grishman. I use she, her pronouns. I am a fat white woman with curly brown hair and tattoos, and I am wearing a red shirt. I am honored to be among so many people who've come out tonight to commemorate disabled lives. Before I begin, a little bit about me. Apart from my own advocacy work, since 2016, I've been co-running an initiative started in Allegheny County by our dear friend Paulo Hanlon called Ballots for Patients. On Election Day, groups of our volunteers go into participating hospitals to collect emergency absentee ballots from hospitalized patients who cannot get to their polling locations. It is a complicated process that requires the dozens of volunteers and the cooperation of hospitals, doctors, public notaries, the elections department, and the judge of elections. Paul has jokingly pointed out that Ballots for Patients turns the narrative of disability on its head, as the initiative is run by disabled people whose society usually deems as being helpless and serves ordinarily independent people in their moment of need. We have a dream of running a sister initiative to Ballots for Patients called Care to Vote, in which we would have volunteers go into nursing and personal care homes in advance of Election Day to register recent residents to vote in their new locations and set them up with mail-in or absentee ballots. Unfortunately, there have been countless obstacles in our way. Apart from the more obvious problems of needing to find volunteers and finding the financial means to cover expenses, we're really afraid of the conditions in nursing homes themselves. Most of our volunteers have never seen open bed sores or people lying in their own feces for hours on end, which is a near guarantee to happen in some of the worst institutions. We'd lose volunteers, and then we'd be stuck with a terrible dilemma. If we report these conditions to the proper authority, we risk burning bridges with those facilities and won't be able to go back in the future. If we don't report them, we are complicit in allowing a cycle of abuse and neglect to continue. In the past, I have been rather arrogantly known to say that voting is the single greatest right that we have as a society. If you don't go and vote, you don't get to complain about who's elected and what policies come from those results. Then a bunch of people very rightfully jumped on me and pointed out that my attitude callously ignored the thousands of disabled people who want to vote but aren't able to for a million of bullshit reasons. And they are absolutely fucking right. With that being said, I would like to present my thoughts about disability and voting. If you combine all the residents of all the nursing homes and personal care facilities in the state of Pennsylvania, you would have a new third largest city. Can you imagine all of the rights that we would have if all the residents of that new city were able to vote? Pennsylvania has no voting competency laws, meaning that there are no intelligence or functionality tests that one might be required to pass in order to vote. Can you imagine how much change could be made if people in programs for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities were educated on election issues and registered to vote? Many polling locations are partly or fully inaccessible, preventing disabled folks from voting in person. Absentee and mail-in ballots aren't perfect replacements because they don't always arrive in time. And in 2024, there still aren't any Braille ballots for blind and deafblind voters to independently cast their ballots. Can you imagine how amazing it would be if disabled people were taken seriously and given the same access to voting as others? If we were valued, if politicians gave a fuck about us because we were a credible voting bloc that was crucial to their elections prospects. If disabled people had a fair say There would be higher wages for home care workers, incentivizing more people to work in the field. With more personal care assistants being hired, there'd be more disabled people living in their own homes and aging in place. With more people living independently, there'd be fewer deaths due to neglect in long-term care settings. If disabled people had a choice, there would be no caps on Medicaid. There would be free basic health care for anyone who needed it, regardless of pre-existing condition. Pharmaceutical companies would be limited on how much they could charge for life-saving medications, and prescriptions would never be denied because of some capitalist formulary. If enough disabled people voted, there would be tons of affordable housing. And in fact, affordable, accessible housing would be built far more frequently. And in desirable areas, no less, not just the middle of nowhere, with limited access to public transit. Section 8 wait lists would be a thing of the past. Speaking of public transit, there would be so much more funding available for both static routes and paratransit services, especially when it came to providing free fares to low-income and disabled riders. People who are disabled are more than twice as likely to live in poverty as those who aren't. And for many, having access to low-cost transit can make the difference between gainful employment and homelessness. If disabled people voted, politicians would come crawling to us, falling over backwards with promises to make improvements to how we live. But we don't, because we can't. And that's some utter fucking bullshit. So what do we do? I wish I had a quick and easy solution, but lack of access to voting is such a broad problem with so many problems that sometimes feels like Hercules fighting the Hydra. Chop off one more head and two more spring up in its place. But we can't solve anything if we don't try. So please contact your local board of elections and they demand that they make polling locations accessible. Reach out to organizations that work with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities and ask them if they provide voter resources to their clients. If they don't, discuss with them the importance of doing so and how they can work with foundations like the FISA and Pittsburgh foundations to create education programs for their participants. Go to your local nursing homes, especially Medicaid funded facilities, and volunteer your services helping residents register to vote. Join disability advocacy groups. If they're working voter advocacy, great. Help them out, do whatever. And if not, ask them why and try to get things started. Most importantly, contact your local elected officials and tell them why this is such an important topic and why it matters so much to so many people. Get them to commit to making disability voting and disability issues the priority in their campaigns. Vote for politicians who do this and vote against politicians who don't. They say vote as if your life depends on it. For people with disabilities, our lives do depend on it. Because if we want to stop having more disability days of mourning, we need disabled voices to come together as one and vote for candidates who support us because they realize that to not do so is a form of eugenics. Denying health care to disabled people is a form of eugenics. Denying housing to disabled people is a form of eugenics. Denying the right to vote to disabled people is a form of eugenics. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elisa. I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Sarah. Sarah Silvaggi Hernandez is a deaf autistic author, educator, occupational therapist, and international speaker. She was also the first openly autistic person elected to serve in the United States government. She runs the popular social media site, The Autistic OT, and is currently joining the autistic community's effort to stop the shock at the Judge Rottenberg Center in Canton, MA. Sarah will be talking to us tonight about several other arms of modern eugenics practices. Her fight for access as an elected official, which went all the way to federal court, and she won. About our exclusion, about the removal of our hope, our joy, our future dreaming, about the abuse of our bodies, the abuse we suffer at the hands of those who believe we belong to them, and therefore they have a right to decide how our bodies do and do not exist in the world, and how those dehumanizing acts create a system that allow our deaths. Sarah, would you mind beginning with just a visual description of yourself?
Yes. My name is Sarah Silvaggi Hernandez. I am a white, non-binary femme person. My pronouns are she, they. I have pale brown hair, pale skin, and I'm wearing glasses. I was the first openly deaf, autistic person elected to government, climbing ladders with my hypermobile limbs to sit at tables that were not meant for me. My time in these privileged spaces gave me opportunity to witness systemic inequities manifesting in real time. I experienced them for pushing against the system and demanding my civil rights. Just over a month ago, I ended my painful 4.5-year legal battle by successfully defending access and communication rights under the ADA. Truly, the system sees us as less than human. All people deserve equity in access and to have laws, policies, and procedures created of the people, by the people, for the people. This includes the disability community and especially multiply marginalized intersections such as non-speakers and people of color. However, these critical perspectives have been suppressed. The result of the intentional exclusion of disabled people has literally been the death of us, many at the hands of our parents and caretakers. We have been denied the wisdom of our elders because of their premature departure. We have been denied the full vibrancy of their lives on the tapestry of the human experience. As an occupational therapist, I have witnessed overt and covert supremacy around the people I serve. Medical staff often reduce their disabled patients to a collection of burdens and barriers. Family members mourn the still living. The education system prepares us for isolation. Parents openly plan to non-consensually sterilize their children. We are spoken of in terms of cost and productivity. Electric shock forces us to comply. Rights are used as rewards. Conservators tasked to advocate for our needs leave us to rot unattended. When we are murdered by our caregivers, it is phrased with pity and compassion for the stressed out and undersupported assailant. Disabled people are spoken of in terms of the lives we are doomed to live rather than the dreams we hope to achieve. We, the community, demand better. I connect with you in this moment as a witness to the injustice of the past and commit to creating a new worldview that actively affirms our humanity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. We're going to take a few minutes now to remember a person that we lost here in Pittsburgh in this past year. Though he was not murdered by a caregiver, he was killed by a system that refused him the medical care, supports, and services that he needed. A system that relegated him into a nursing home and then neglected him to death. A system that disregarded him, his humanity, entirely. He was our friend. He was part of our community. We loved him, and he is gone, and he deserves to be remembered. Michael is going to talk about Ricky Pascoe, who we lost on April 29th, 2023. Michael James is a queer disabled designer, facilitator, and leader. He's learned about what the Pittsburgh healthcare system is like for disabled people as a patient, a peer, and an advocate. Michael, would you mind starting with a visual description of yourself?
Thank you. I'm a white man with short brown hair, wearing a purple dress shirt. When is an Irish potato no longer Irish? When it's a French fry. We've each given up on something, or rather, let something slide, drift into the cruelty of chance. Can't even. A line drawn in the sand around ourselves against the messy demands outside it. Talked to someone, but not really listened. Listened to what was easy, surface. Not engaged the undercurrent, the real message, what wasn't said, not wanted to hear it. Relegated the needs that would require acting, doing the hard thing, the complexity, that which we aren't willing and choose not to contend. Sometimes it is because of our bandwidth, our capacity, our skill sets and abilities. Other times, when rubbing up against people and situations that make us uncomfortable, it is more fundamentally and rigidly our mindset, politics, values, worth assigned to another that separate us, elevate us away from empathy. The disability community asks people, especially those in authority, in rules of instruction or care, to presume competence, like presuming innocence, withholding guilt, reminding and expecting people to see the worth, the brilliance, the agency, and perspective of people who are routinely assumed by strangers, acquaintances, friends, to lack all these redeeming, respectable qualities. Those qualities required in our society to be thought of as having power, expertise, or even just a right to participate. If someone doesn't project this confidence, their concerns and wishes are disregarded due to their level of awareness, eloquence, coherence, credentials. In these moments, their autonomy, choice, wishes, inclusion are put on trial. Left in isolation, purgatory, confinement, confined in an apartment without attendant care, confined to a cycle of emergency rooms, hospitals, nurses, doctors, denials, and procedures. Confined in a nursing facility, surrounded, assisted, but segregated from community. As I walked in Pittsburgh today from Point State Park to the North Shore, across the pedestrian bridge, I noticed this pain written on the guardrail. I'm tired of honoring them after they are gone. The kids, the young men and women, they leave us far too soon. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish they could live out the days the heavens granted them. I don't know who wrote it, but I think I may know sort of a little bit of what they felt. What did the teacher do with the student's report on cheese? She graded it. My friend Richard Pascoe made me laugh more than anything. On Zoom, in the hospital, the nursing facility, the apartment, his voice changer app, the regular jokes he'd post on Facebook that he would scour the internet for and judiciously selected with colorful backgrounds and his jolly avatar. He took this service seriously, apologizing if he hadn't regularly provided the people with these moments of life, usually because he was in the hospital for a procedure. I'm sorry, I'm retiring from telling jokes. Jokes return tomorrow morning. This is what I remember of Ricky from the beginning and throughout. His charm, humor, the class clown, the occasional soft touch of sarcasm, humor as a way of participating, of touching other people's lives, of touching mine, of having a tiny bit of power in the moment. Ricky loved and found comfort in his passions. The Steelers, the Steelers, monkeys, all things monkeys. The monkeys we got him displayed all over his apartment. The Golden Girls, the Muppet animal. His memories, his Fort Cherry Rangers baseball and football teams, for whom he served as equipment manager. His high school friends, their reunions, their comments on his Facebook, on his jokes, on his apologies. I hope he found comfort in their words in the challenging moments. More than anything, I know he loved his apartment, his long fought for apartment, his independence, his place, better than a long-term hotel stay, a far cry from the institutional congregate care his providers were inclined towards. A team made up of multiple institutions responsible for his care and inclusion. But he wanted to live in his community, in an apartment. But it was a large team and he couldn't get traction with them. So this community, the people you see tonight and others, repeatedly asserted his right to have an opinion, a desire, a wish, a choice in what happened to him, where he lived. Like we say, nothing about us without us. And after all that, he got his apartment. Yet all too quickly, his independence, security, participation was already once again precarious. It was hard to join community Zoom conversations from the hospital. He couldn't attend his high school reunion in his final year as he recovered from surgery. I visited him on Thanksgiving in his apartment, the one that took him so long to get. But he couldn't secure regular personal attendant care, the care he was entitled to, granted, and had funds to pay for. There just weren't any people available. The reimbursement from the government was so low that no one wanted to or existed to do the work. He couldn't have gotten the care, he couldn't get the care he should have gotten, the care that would have kept him in the community, in his apartment. Have you had a doctor, customer service rep, a nurse, an officer, a hairstylist, who has in an instant decided that they know your situation better than you know it yourself, has not really listened, has chosen what is best for you, and just pursued that, has told you what will happen without caring, checking if you understand, if you're on board? Often, in my experience, in Ricky's experience and others, people didn't presume Ricky's competence, like we said, presume competence. Didn't check that he understood, but they assured everyone he did. I talked to Ricky. He understands. They took his agreeableness as cover for carrying on with their decisions for him, deciding his care, next steps, even if that deprived him of services that could have changed his course. Tests, assessments, things that could have gotten him access to services that were different from the apartment or from the services he received. Why can't oysters donate to charity? Because they're shellfish. I'm that funny guy you love to hate, who is charismatic, has a big heart, great sense of humor. Ricky's Facebook bio couldn't be more true. I guess he knew who he was. The thing that gets me the most, the feeling I can't shake, is the stark dissonance between the glowing, kind, easygoing light that Ricky was, the sharp advocacy by this community for him, and the languishing, enveloping, slippery, complacent care and situation he was drowning in. It often struck me, one moment a joke, our chuckles, in the next breath, recounting exclusion, no dignity, straining for support. It's hard to imagine how much more quickly his independence, health, and spirit could have degraded without advocacy from this community. No, you can't force him to make that decision. No, explain that again in a way he will understand, in plain language. Now, check for his understanding. No, ask him what he wants, not me. Is it fair that only the loud, quick, assertive, researched among us can navigate these systems unscathed? I close with an excerpt from In the Service of Life by Rachel Naomi Remen, 1991, on the difference between helping, fixing, and serving someone. I was assigned this essay in a college service design class. Back then, it felt abstract and important. Now it feels specific and true. Quote, serving is different from helping. Helping is based on inequality. It is not a relationship between equals. When you help, you use your own strength to help those of lesser strength. If I'm attentive to what's going on inside of me when I'm helping, I find that I'm always helping someone who's not as strong as I am, who is needier than I am. People feel this inequality. When we help, we may inadvertently take away from people more than we could ever give them. We may diminish their self-esteem, their sense of worth, integrity, wholeness. When I help, I'm very aware of my own strength, but we don't serve with our strength. We serve with ourselves. We draw from all of our experiences. Our limitations serve, our wounds serve, even our darkness can serve. The wholeness in us serves the wholeness in others and the wholeness in life. The wholeness in you is the same as the wholeness in me. Service is a relationship between equals. Serving is also different from fixing. When I fix a person, I perceive them as broken, and their brokenness requires me to act. When I fix, I do not see the wholeness in the other person or trust the integrity of the life in them. Whereas when I serve, I see and trust that wholeness. It is what I'm responding to and collaborating with. There is distance between ourselves and whatever or whomever we are fixing. Fixing is a form of judgment. All judgment creates distance, a disconnection, an experience of difference. In fixing, there is an inequality of expertise that can easily become a moral distance. We cannot serve at a distance. When we can serve, only that to which we are profoundly connected, that which we are willing to touch. This is Mother Teresa's basic message. We serve life not because it is broken, but because it is holy. Fundamentally, helping, fixing, and service are ways of seeing life. When you help, you see life as weak. When you fix, you see life as broken. When you serve, you see life as whole. From the perspective of service, we are all connected. All suffering is like my suffering, and all joy is like my joy. End quote. Many people helped Ricky, tried to fix him, his situation, saw him as broken. Even as he made them laugh, I know he felt this inequality. But who served him? His wholeness. Would service of his life left him alive? When I think of Ricky now, it's the light he brought to the room, his gentle kindness that I remember. The way he'd say, no problem, how he'd talk about his Steelers, the restaurants he worked for. What happened, the decline and neglect, was rough and needed to be shared here tonight. But I would be remiss if I didn't end by reminding myself and you that the people we talk about tonight, the names you will soon hear, are most importantly people with full, rich humanity. Not just names who have died that we want to recognize. We have to center their life and joys as we agitate to stop the cycle. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. I hope that learning about Ricky has brought you all a measure of the joy that we all felt to have him in our lives, and some understanding of who he was. Thank all of you for taking a moment to grieve his loss with us. If you're just joining us tonight, we're talking about filicide. In the disability community, this is when a parent or caregiver kills a disabled person in their care. This can be a heavy subject, so take care of yourself. We have some resources on our website if you need support. You can find them at autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. So why does filicide happen? Because we live in a world where disabled lives are valued as less than lives of non-disabled people. Because we live in a world where people think that it is better to be dead than to live our disabled lives. Because we live in a world where killing your disabled child is excused and minimized and normalized and sympathized with. Because we live in a world that tells us that we are a burden. In a moment, we're going to read the names of nearly 200 disabled individuals that have been identified in the past year as being murdered by filicide. Some go back decades, but most are from 2023. All of them were identified and added to the list in the last year. We grieve for every one of them. Their names, ages, and the date of their death will be displayed on the screen. A few name readers will join me on the screen. On your screen, on your screen right now, what you'll see is an image of a logo of 3 candles. The candles are white, the flames are red, and the words Disability Day of Mourning 2024 reading of names.
Lucas Cambron, age 7, May 1995. Nadine Richards, age 46, January 2003. Omari Barea, age 9, December 2013. Cicely Kurtz, age 79, July 2014. Sheila, child, December 2014. Mohan Lal, adult, July 2016. Suzanne Sills, age 58, November 2016. Name unknown, age 2 months, August 2016. Name unknown, age 83, May 2017. Megan Tillman, age 43, October 2017.
Leon Ignite, age 76, October 2017. Shane Donfreo, age 24, February 2018. Melvin Maki, age 77, June 2018. Christopher Pratt, age 6, August 2018. Abel Levique Flett, age 3, August 2018. Lucinda Palma, age 70, November 2018. Ben Thompson, age 72, November 2019. Anthony Mitchell, age 55, December 2019. James Samuels, age 69, March 2020. Janet Samuels, age 67, March 2020.
LaShesta Shasta Childs, age 47, March 2020. Ellie Price, age 26, May 2020. Lindeva Rosario, age 35, July 2020. Lola James, age 2, July 2020. Karen Gillen, age 68, September 2020. Gopi, age 20, December 2020. Timothy Ragas, age 13, February 2021. Eileen Pierce, age 89, June 2021. Deborah Diamond, age 73, June 2021. Mark Vella, age 52, August 2021.
Bobby Laws, age 62, December 2021. Robin Grogan, age 58, January 2022. Sarah McKetty, age 32, January 2022. Yasushi Yamamoto, age 77, March 2022. Nellie Sullivan, age 92, April 2022. Nosifo Mafana, age 15, April 2022. Jack Ross, age 35, May 2022. Morgan Moore, age 17, May 2022. Joan Folks, age 82, May 2022. Jackson Morrow, age 8, May 2022.
Vaishnavi Patanye, age 19, June 2022. Chase Allen, age 3, June 2022. Pamela Gordon, age 67, July 2022. Leon Appler, age 6, August 2022. Stephen Schapper, age 58, August 2022. Mary Chirella, age 77, August 2022. Patricia Bitters, age 84, September 2022. Mary Kelting, age 73, September 2022. Name unknown, age 1 day, September 2022. Michael Bruno, age 74, September 2022.
Stephen Kershaw, age 65, September 2022. Ida Lynn Carr, age 63, October 2022. Madeline Day, age 4, November 2022. Barbara Reeder, age 83, December 2022. Sandra Brown, age 69, December 2022. Jesse Pickle, age 10, December 2022. Antonio Tatasciore, age 74, January 2023. Cora Lizinowisk, age 23, January 2023. Name unknown, age 16, January 2023. Yoshiko Gano, age 78, February 2023.
Trish Lamborn, age 61, February 2023. Sasina Damanani, age 88, February 2023. Rajender Kumar, age 45, February 2023. Sarah Albone, age 38, February 2023. Caleb Gonzalez, age 16, February 2023. Edna Berry, age 80, February 2023. James Parham, age 40, February 2023. Rosa Hargrave, age 12, March 2023. Jenny Baxter, age 45, March 2023. Rashta, age 35, March 2023.
Yusuf Farhat, age 40, March 2023. Masood Farhat, age 38, March 2023. Juanita Cox, age 82, March 2023. Ruth McLaurin, age 35, March 2023. Sarah Bateman, age 50, March 2023. Amelie G, age 100, March 2023. Abhijit Jabaye, age 27, April 2023. Janice Houston, age 55, April 2023. Eve Balava, age 80, April 2023. Cameron Forrest, age 24, 2022.
Rashta, age 72, April 2023. Hashi Som, age 86, April 2023. Gary Liu, age 68, April 2023. Grace Kennard, age 81, April 2023. Jeremiah Pushak, age 17 months, April 2023. Eliana Gonzalez, age 7, April 2023. Junen Fannel, age 82, April 2023. Ray Crammond, age 73, April 2023. Name unknown, age 35, May 2023. Lugela Morales, age 42, May 2023.
Shauna McLean, age 53, May 2023. Anaya Perry, age 6, May 2023. Olivia Hobbs Jordan, age 7, June 2023. Lech, age 7, June 2023. Mahesh, adult, June 2023. Sinuan Unkerd, age 58, June 2023. Omri Blum, age 23, July 2023. Patricia Zaccario, age 73, July 2023. Jean Morley, age 92, July 2023. Paramboli Yil Thankamani, age 80, August 2023.
Felista May St. John, age 86, August 2023. 10-month-old girl, infant, August 2023. Martha Routledge, age 99, August 2023. Dana Morris, age 55, September 2023. Florence Brown, age 94, September 2023. Cheryl Lee Mansoff, age 63, September 2023. Therese Brassard Levesque, age 79, September 2023. JMGC, age 25, September 2023. Baba Jr., age 4 months, September 2023. Jean Ann Salter, age 78, October 2023.
Logan Halstead, age 19, October 2023. Ahmad and Ava Jackson, age 5, October 2023. Ethan Ortiz Ruiz, age 3, October 2023. Amanpreet Al-Shuhabahi, age 9, October 2023. Aramin Mayo, age 93, November 2023. Michael Willett, age 69, November 2023. Elizabeth DeRozanne Clay, age 93, November 2023. Victoria, age 9, November 2023. Noor Fatin Mod Sani, age 29, November 2023. Vivian Kafavour, age 80, November 2023. Serena Vasan, age 85, November 2023. Leon Perkins, age 66, December 2023. Arthur Stanton, age 63, December 2023. Gaia Trivedi Pandey, age 40, December 2023. Gauri Pandey, age 11, December 2023. Damari Carter, age 4, December 2023. On your screen, you'll see a logo with 3 white candles and 3 red flames, and the words, "Now a moment of silence." Please join us now in a few moments of silence as we remember the people whose names we've just spoken. Thank you all for being with us tonight. The things we wrestled with tonight are huge and painful and impossibly difficult. Because of the nature of the trauma we're all carrying and the work we just did together, I'd like to invite you all to take a moment to ground with me. If we can, let's notice the feeling of where we're sitting, or where we're standing, or where we're lying. Notice the firmness and the stability of the floor, or our seat, our couch, or our bed. Let's all take a moment now to breathe in deeply if we're able, or just to be present in the here and the now if we're not, and to slowly exhale together. Our website has resources if you need support right now. We list some techniques that you can try to ground yourself and some phone numbers that you can call if you need. Our website is autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. Again, that's autisticpgh.org/DDOM-2024. Thank you to all of our speakers, to our name readers, to all of our volunteers. Thank you to our wonderful ASL interpreters, to our live captioner, and to GenderMeowster and their production team for their support. Thank you to all of our audience for attending the Pittsburgh Vigil. Thank you for creating this space together. Take care of yourselves. Good night.